Hello. Today we are going to talk about Master Your Emotions, the leader's guide to stay calm under pressure. Have you ever walked out of a meeting and thought, oh, what did I say? Or I know I'm capable, so why did I become so defensive? I used to get this feedback about maybe I'll stop being defensive earlier on in my career. Perhaps you have spent the entire night replaying that conversation over and over again. If you're a leader or managing a team, chances are you have experienced this, not because you're weak, but because leadership is emotional work. It's to deal with people all the time. The higher you rise, the fewer decisions are about spreadsheets and more about people, relationships, conflicts, uncertainty, and expectations. And here is what I have learned in 35 years of my career as a leader. Your success rarely determines your intelligence, it's determined by your emotional stability. Today, I'd like to share how I learned this the hard way. One of my stories I would like to share with you. Early in my career, I believed that being emotional meant being unprofessional or not in control of things. So I became very good at hiding emotions. Until one day, I received some feedback from a senior leader. Nothing dramatic, just a few comments about the presentation. But internally, I totally collapsed. I smiled politely in the room at that moment, but inside I was thinking, maybe I'm not good enough. The imposter syndrome really came to bite me. Maybe they made me, they promoted me by mistake. All these kind of thoughts started going on, and 2 days I kept replaying that conversation. The feedback lasted only for 5 minutes. The suffering lasted for me for 48 hours. Can you relate to that? That was the day I realized the event wasn't hurting me. My interpretation of that event was. The realization changed my leadership forever. How do we understand emotional triggers? Here is something most people don't realize. People don't trigger us. Situations don't trigger us. It is our interpretation that triggers us. Two people receive exactly the same feedback. One says, great, I know what to improve. And the other person says, I'm failing. I'm not good enough. Same words, different meaning, different emotions, and different future. I often ask my coaching clients to become emotional detectives. Instead of asking, why did this happen? Ask, why did this affect me so much? Every strong emotion carries information. Anger may be telling you your boundaries were crossed. Fear may be pointing to some uncertainty of future. Jealousy may reveal an unrealized aspiration. Shame may uncover an old story you have been carrying for years, and emotions aren't your enemies. They are just simple data. The three-step process, one of the most powerful habits I have developed, is something I call the three-step pause. Whenever something emotionally intense happens, I pause. Not for 5 minutes. Sometimes it could be just 5 seconds. Step one is to notice, what am I feeling? Name the emotion. Research actually shows that simply naming an emotion reduces its intensity. I'm feeling disappointed. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling threatened. Step two, ask yourself, what story am I telling myself? This question is magic because often the story is far more dramatic than the reality. Step three, choose your response. Remember, between stimulus and response, there is always a space. And in that space lies your choices and lies your leadership. So let me share another story with you. I remember conducting a leadership workshop where one of the participants kept interrupting me time and again. I was getting irritated, but suddenly I could have been, defensive, but I realized, let me pause and see what's happening. Why is he challenging me? I realized after having a couple of conversations that he was really anxious to implement those solutions that I was talking about into his business. And therefore, he had all of these answers or questions to me. And then I became very curious and the conversation completely changed. Now let's talk about something that's often misunderstood: emotional detachment. Detachment doesn't mean become cold. It doesn't mean you stop caring for people. It simply means you stop becoming your emotions. One of the greatest teachings I have received from my spiritual mentor, Acharya Sri Shivamji, is you are the awareness that observes your thoughts and your emotions. You are not the emotion itself. Imagine standing on a riverbank. Thoughts and emotions are flowing in the river. Most of us jump into that river. We get carried away by the flow and then we don't have control. But what if you simply stood on the bank and watched? I'm noticing frustration. I'm noticing fear. I'm noticing excitement. The observer is always calmer than the participant. Would you agree? And that's where wisdom lies. So, how do we build emotional resilience then? People often ask me, how do I become mentally stronger? And here is my answer through my experiences. You don't become resilient because life becomes easier. You become resilient because you become bigger than your challenges. Resilience isn't about avoiding stress, it's about recovering faster. Here are three habits that I have used that transformed. First one, meditation. Even 15 minutes every day changes how your nervous system responds to pressure. Second, journaling. Don't carry emotional clutter from one day to another. Just write it down on a nice journal. Your journal is your best coach and a friend. Third, move your body. Stress lies in the body. Movement helps release it. I also ask myself one simple question whenever something goes wrong. Will this matter 1 year from now? Most of the time, the answer is no. Instant perspective. It just makes the issue a little bit more lighter. So, how do we lead with emotional intelligence? The leaders who remember things are not the smartest one. They are the ones who make us feel safe, seen, heard, valued. Your emotional response becomes the climate of your own team. If you're constantly anxious, your team is anxious. If you are calm, they borrow your calmness. If you're grounded, people trust you. That's real leadership. Not controlling people, but mastering your own self. So today, when I coach senior leaders, I often tell them the goal isn't to become emotionless. The goal is to become emotionally free, to feel everything without being controlled by anything, without being obsessively attached to it. That is the inner CEO, the leader who responds instead of reacts, who chooses, calm over chaos, even in uncertainty, and they trust the environment. They make sure that they are grounded. So, what is my call to action here? I would love to hear from you. What's one emotion you would like to master this week? Write it in the comments. I'll personally read as many as I can. And if this conversation resonated with you, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and share it with another person, a woman or a senior career leader who might need this reminder today. Remember, leadership doesn't begin when others start following you. Leadership begins the moment you learn to lead yourself. So until next time, stay grounded, stay courageous, and keep awakening your inner CEO. Take care.